Welcome to Ideas All Day, a podcast where we, definitely experts in areas of unimportant things that are non-consequential to everyone's lives, talk about our ideas and then put them into either a good ideas pile, a bad ideas pile, or we just can't really decide. So we're just going to stick in this one and then, kind of come up with some BS answer about it. So now let's do some intros. I'm going to start us off today because I never get to go first in these. My name's Alex, and I'm doing great. Look, it's my 2022 New Year's resolution is be more outgoing and whatnot. So why can't I put myself first once in a while? How are you doing today, Kate?
Brr, it's cold in here. There must be something in the atmosphere. I'm doing well.
Okay. Toros are in the atmosphere.
That's what's in the atmosphere. Are you sure it's not the clovers?
Could have been the clovers.
Because I think they were the ones who first brought things into the atmosphere. If I can remember a movie from 20 years ago.
Like Cloverfield? Is that what you're referring to?
No, bring it on.
Yeah, Toros were the cheerleading squad that copied from the other one. I think the other one was the Clovers.
The Clovers, they were from Compton.
Happy 2022. Hopefully this year will be better than last.
I'm sure it won't be. Don't worry. And Ajax, how are you doing?
I'm doing swell. Happy 2022. I like how it's 2020 part duh.
Part duh?
Part duh.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that I'm doing grand.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you.
With that chilly reception, let me tell you what our topic is.
I'm assuming it's dad puns because, good God.
We're trying to keep warm outside. So ideas for keeping warm outside.
Because, baby, it's cold outside.
That's such a cringy song to me now.
It will be tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be cold.
There's been a lot of songs that I've never realized like their meaning until I actually sat down and listened to the lyrics. And I never really realized how cringy that Baby It's Cold Outside was until not too long ago, like last year.
But then I heard a version recently, a few weeks ago, where they did the gender reversal. So it was
still creepy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's a lot, more interesting. It puts things in a different perspective when you switch it around.
What perspective did you get when you switched it around?
Where the woman's the creeper now.
Yeah. She's the one who's not
now she's being weird. And he's just like, I'm not having this.
Listen,
I don't want to
go.
I gotta get going.
Cold outside.
It's cold, but you know what? I mean,
thanks.
Thanks
I got
for the drink,
people at
though.
home that are gonna worry about me. It's cold outside. It's 63. Let me go.
Yeah. Especially let me get those handcuffs. Come on.
If you ever have the chance to actually listen to Lola. Oh,
I was thinking, whatever Lola wants.
No, not that one. That one has, if you actually listen to the lyrics, is pretty interesting. And if you like pina coladas, I never realized how, great of a song that is lyrically.
It's great.
This whole storytelling concept, and I need to listen more to lyrics than to.
No, listening to lyrics is so good, especially when you have a connection or when you start piecing the everything together. Yeah. It's just so good. Or there's a lot of things where I'll listen to there's been some not recent songs, but the last 5 years that talk a lot alcohol addiction, and it's just when you know the symptoms of alcohol addiction or alcohol withdrawal symptoms. Because Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats with their SOB song, perfect.
Ooh.
Just perfect description when you know the symptoms and what he's talking about, and just someone going through withdrawal symptoms, wanting to get back on the horse because it's just too hard to deal with. Oh, it's perfect.
I want to hear this song. Who is it?
Nathaniel Rateliff and
the Night Sweats.
And the Night Sweats. It was a top 10 song.
No, it was
Harry Potter.
It was super popular for.
And they just had a new one out called Survivor, but it doesn't have the same story.
Nathaniel.
And he did a great rendition of Santa Baby.
I can imagine.
Oh, it's so good. Favorite Christmas song of 2021.
But anyway, We got so far off track, but the topic of today was keeping warm outside, which then spun us into Baby It's Cold Outside. I'll go first. I'm going to go with like very pedestrian ways keeping warm outside to like more kind of extreme ways of keeping warm outside. So my first idea is super commonsensical, but I see it a lot and I just like stare at people like, what are you doing? Walk on the sunny side of the street. It's warmer on the sunny side of the street. I'll see people freezing their butts off on the other side and just won't cross over because they have to cross over. Sunny side of the street, people. It's warmer there. It's nice. So yeah, idea number one, walk on the sunny side of the street. Idea number two, this is actually something that my mom brought to my consciousness. She always wondered, why are winter clothes always so dark? And she's like, I hate that winter clothes are so dark because when I'm driving at night, I don't see people because their clothing's so dark. Well, the reason their clothing is so dark is because dark colors absorb light a lot better than light colors, because light colors reflect that and you want to absorb that. So idea number two, wear dark clothes, but look both ways before crossing the street. Idea number three, this is something that I've experienced with Ajax. When we used to play tackle football, we played in the spring. So we would have practices in the winter. So what would happen is we would have a cold outdoor practice and I would bundle up in layers and I hate being cold. And then we would start doing warm-ups and then we would start doing sprint. We would start doing football drills and I was just sweating. I was so hot and I would have to take off pads and take off sweatshirts and take off all these overlayers and I would be down to like a long sleeve shirt and sweatpants. So another way to stay warm is exercising. Get that core body temperature up. It'll make you feel a lot warmer. There's nothing, I hate being cold. So there's nothing worse to me than being cold, like to the bone cold. Idea number four. I have invested in emergency blankets. And the reason I have invested in this product is because I used to do runs. And at the end of a very long run, sometimes you're given an emergency blanket, like those little thin plasticky blankets, but they're have like a aluminum shiny side, and sometimes it's on both sides. Sometimes there's a print advertising something on the other side. When I first got them, I didn't know how to even use them. Like, okay, do I do aluminum side up? Do I do the print side down? Like, how does this work? And then I found out about reflectives, and that basically you're wrapping yourself in how you would like aluminum foil around meat or something. It's to keep your body heat in and not floating out into the cold. So if you're ever in a situation, it's nice to have an emergency blanket in your car, within your purse. They fit in plenty of places. They're not very expensive. I highly recommend having one on hand just in case you get into a situation where you need to conserve your body heat. And it's especially good if you run around a little and then use it, because then you've built up some heat to keep contained inside of you. Idea number five actually comes from a movie, The Day After Tomorrow. I don't know if you remember The Day After Tomorrow. Jake Gyllenhaal. Oh, the really handsome fella. Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
There is a homeless person who gets stuck with all these other people trapped in like a library or something. And they're all like very cold and they're trying to get warm. And he's literally just shoving his shirt with like trash and newspaper. There's a whole theory, like if you have like a layer of air, that can insulate and keep your body. If you have a situation where you're really cold, what you can do is try to insulate what you already have with things like leaves, trash, something to create another layer to keep your heat in. So I was thinking to like piggyback off that, and that's a reason why down's really warm, because down really like captures a lot of air, and that's why it's on geese. So I was thinking for like an invention, why don't we have like inflatable jackets where you can add air into like certain parts of the jacket, like a bladder, to create another layer of insulation. So that was idea number 5, air vest jacket, John. And then idea number 6, if you are like outside, it's freezing cold temperatures, and try to get underground because there's a consistent temperature underground and won't be nearly as cold as above ground, or try to get into somewhere, be it an abandoned building or be it at a 24-hour big box change store where you chill out in their home furnishing section for a while. So yeah, those are my ideas. And there's a fly on my camera. Ajax, why don't you pile my ideas first?
Gladly. I will love to pile your ideas, Kate. So, for your first idea of walking on the sunny side of the street, yes, that is definitely an action that would get you warmer rather opposed the unsunny side of the street. So, but sometimes where you want to go isn't on the sunny side. So then you have to have the dilemma of, do I cross over to get where I want to go or be cold? So then you got to weigh your pros and cons, whether or not you want to get cold or not. So I can see how people are like, no, I don't want to go on the other side of the street. But you know, I'm going to say this is a good idea. This topic is for being warm outside, and that's the best way to be warmed out, being in the warm outside, especially on a cold day. For your second idea of wearing dark clothes to retain heat. So yes, that's a good idea. Heat retention, good idea. For your third idea of exercising, I agree. I have gotten warm in really cold temperatures by running routes and pumping up the blood, getting your body moving. It does, it works. You'll be sweating in no time, but you have to work to make it work. That's the thing. If you're not working to make that sweat build up, you're not going to get it. So, I mean, I'm going to say it's a good idea if you want to get warm, but then you also have to utilize that energy and figure out, if you're in a survival situation, can you utilize that energy by exercising? There's lots of things to think about. So right now I'm going to say good idea. For your fourth idea, the emergency blanket. I don't know. I've never used an emergency blanket. Is it really warm on the inside?
Warmer than it would be on the outside.
I know, but every time I see somebody wearing them, they're never wearing them covering their body. They're always just like wrapped around and air is blowing in. I never seen anybody using them the right way, unless that's how they work.
I think there's a huge misunderstanding on how they work. And they're only so big. So you can get 2 of them and then tape them together. Then you can make a little aluminum burrito.
Ooh, all right. I'm in it for the burrito. So yeah, I'll put that in the good ideas pile because I would like to be an aluminum burrito. And then for your fifth idea of insulation. Now, the first thing I thought of when you were talking about was the Missy Elliott video and everybody just walking around, walking around in their big blow up suits.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if that is what is happening, then yes, 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 I want to see this happen. So good ideas pile, please make Missy Elliott suits the norm for life. I love it. And for your sixth idea of getting underground, this one actually is kind of like my idea. So I'm just going to go in the good ideas pile. So yeah, and those are my pilings.
Thanks, Ajax. Appreciate that.
No, you don't.
I do. Speaking of appreciating, Alec, why don't you pile my idea?
I would be happy to, Kate. For your first idea of walking on the sunny side of the street, I had to put this in the ideas pile. Number one, not just because it involves walking, because I'm not going to bring that into it. I mean, we all know about how I feel about activity, but we're not going to bring it into it. But the reason is, as we all know, the sun doesn't do anything to keep you warm. Because if the sun kept you warm, winter wouldn't happen. So if you think about it with the real logic of science, the being on the dark side or the sunny side wouldn't make a difference. Think about it. So really, I mean, the only activity that keeps you actually warm with this is the walking part, because you are still being a little bit active. But the sun doesn't do anything. You can walk at what about people that walk at night? You're telling them, what if they can't choose either side of the street because it's both dark? I mean, that's a bit, uninclusive. Then you might as well, why don't they just walk under the street lights? I mean, those usually emanate some form of heat because they have the bulb and the superheated metal. So yeah, ideas pile. Number 2, just wearing dark clothes. Yeah, that I'm fine. This is a good idea with me. I like to think that you could be like a ninja, and the less people see me when I'm walking around, the better. And if it happens to keep me warmer, sure, whatever the science or not says, but I still like the idea of wearing dark clothes. So yeah, good idea, pile. Now for your third idea of exercising. I think we all know this is going straight in the good. Oh no, it's in the bad ideas. Oh, it's way in the bad ideas pile. Man, if the bad ideas pile, it was like set up on a football field, it'd be outside of the baseball field and another field over. So bad idea. For multiple reasons, by the way. Multiple, not just because it's exercise and I'm a sloth in human form, but also is for both of you brought up one very dangerous thing about this, and that was the sweating. As you said, you're sweating, you can get hypothermia from the sweat. Are you not realizing if you're going to exercise, you're doing moderate, light exercise so you're staying active, keeping your core warm, but not sweating, so you don't get the hypothermias?
Yes, cotton kills.
You just want to like give so many bad ideas, get people the hypothermias. I can't abide by that.
This is why I like Under Armour, because their stuff is wonderful for wicking away moisture and keeping you dry and warm. And Under Armour, we're not sponsored by you, but if you want to sponsor us, please contact us at ideasaldaypodcast@gmail.com.
I think Alex would be like the perfect like model for Under Armour. Like his anti-working out stance and just
me sitting in a recliner going, Under Armour wicks away the moisture.
And all the compression gear too.
Yes. Super comfy.
Perfect.
So on to your fourth idea of using an emergency blanket. This one's going straight in the bad ideas pile because it also requires you being active, since you have to build up that core heat. So exercise intrinsically involved. So yeah, that's just straight in the bad ideas pile because you want to give people the hypothermias. Number 5 kind of confused me because yes, the idea of insulation and air pockets is pretty common knowledge. I mean, that's where insulation, comes from, just to having that heat barrier. The problem is, doesn't it exist in a way with the bubble jacket?
Like the bubble jacket that's with down.
It's with down or cotton, stuff like that. But essentially the cotton is creating an air pocket. That air is being trapped in the little crevices between the goose down or the cotton itself to create an insulating barrier. So heat is much harder to escape and transfer over out to the outside. That kind of just does the trick of your jacket, just with extra layers to be more insulative.
Keep you more warm. So maybe it's like a multi-seasoned kind of jacket where you can kind of turn on the winter feature and then have like fall and spring.
Yeah, but then you just have a raincoat, or you'd have you essentially have a tracksuit if it was just air with some motor blowing air through it. Once it deflates, isn't it just like a rain suit or a tracksuit?
Not like a motor.
Well, you got to blow air into it, right?
But yeah, like, just like almost like a little glow up vest, not like a constantly running Missy Elliott kind of suit.
Oh, gotcha. So yeah. So again, I mean, is it a bad idea? Absolutely not.
It's a good idea if it's a Missy Elliott suit, though.
Yeah, no, it's Missy Elliott
suit.
If
it's not a Missy Elliott suit, I don't know.
I'll give it the ideas pile because the concept behind the insulation is there, but it technically already exists. It's just not in the form you're talking about. I understand you want to have something that's year-round usage is kind of what you're referring to. If it's not Missy Elliott, I can't put in the good ideas pile. Sorry. And for your last idea of getting underground, this one goes straight in the good ideas pile because it allows me to become a mole man. Another dream of mine. Because, I mean, who wouldn't want to spend all their day outside of the sunlight that doesn't do anything? Underground, just burn away my little hole. I get to, be blind, or if I'm lucky, be star-nosed. So I have the giant little feelers on my nose so I can feel for electromagnetic forces and whatnot. So yeah, good idea for me.
Thanks, Alex.
You're welcome.
Ajax, why don't you do your ideas?
Why, sweetly. All right. So for my first idea of keeping warm outside is to cuddle. I mean, that is one way to get more body heat is by taking it from somebody else or donate it if you are the warm one. So it could be a shared relationship of cuddling. And two bodies might be better than one to get it, get yourself warm again. For my second idea, I'm going to, I would like a heated body pillow. They probably exist, but I've never seen one before. And I would like a body pillow that I can hug that would be heated. That would warm me up very, very fast. And also, if I was sleeping outside in a tent, I would love to cuddle with a heated body pillow. I don't know how I would heat it. That's a question. Engineer, how would you heat a body pillow? So that's my second idea. My third idea. So when I'm sleeping outside in the tent, I really like the sleeping bag feeling. I like being in a sleeping bag. It's really warm in there. I make my own body heat. I would like a sleeping bag suit. So like from the boots encompassed in a sleeping bag, all the way up to the hips, all the way up to the arms and a jacket and a hood, but with the arms where you can actually walk around and be outside in your sleeping bag. Yeah, because sometimes you want to sit next to the fire and be nice and warm and all cozy all over the place. So I would like a sleeping bag suit that you can even sleep in if you needed to. You wouldn't even need to get into another sleeping bag. You can get in your sleeping bag suit. All right, so for my fourth idea, this comes from the idea of being in the forest if you are and you need to find warmth in the forest, if you're lost in the forest or somewhere else, is to build a shelter with logs and twigs and sticks, jam pack it with a whole bunch of leaves. When I used to do this, leading some nature camps, those were always super warm. You just pack it full of leaves surrounding you. You can even have it a pretty small shelter too. It doesn't have to be too large. Just a whole bunch of sticks leaning against the log, put a whole bunch of leaves for top insulation and roofing, and then just pack with leaves on the inside. I mean, you might get a few bugs because they're living in the leaves as well. Also, you might get a few acorns, so they might be hard to lay on. So it might not be totally comfortable, but when in Rome or when in the forest. So that's my fourth idea, leaves and log shelter. For my fifth idea, just like Kate's idea, mine is to dig a hole. So today I was digging a hole to access a sewage pipe that's connected to the sewer line that needs to be replaced. So it was about 2 feet deep. So we dug a hole to access the pipe. And yeah, when we were digging the hole to excavate it, it was much warmer in that hole than it was out on land where Chris was like, ooh, this breeze is really blowing out here. I'm like, what breeze? I'm so warm in my nice little hole down here that I'm digging. So yeah, so my fifth idea is dig a hole. For my sixth idea is to cheerlead. So if you're attending a sporting event and you're sitting outside in those stands, it is freaking freezing, especially during the fall and winter time if you're sitting outside for like late football season. And so one way that I have stayed warm during a whole football game is by actually being a cheerleader. We ended up wearing just like a few layers of Under Armour and a cheerleading outfit and stayed alive for a whole football game by just, clapping, screaming, shouting, chanting, all of the things, yelling at the football team when they weren't winning. So yeah, all that energy, you can take it out on the football team and keep yourself warm. So for my sixth idea, that was cheerleading. Idea number 7, eating hot sauce, like in chicken wings. Just a little spicy meal to heat it up a little bit. And those are my ideas.
Thank you, Ajax. Alex, why don't you give us your rundown on Ajax's ideas?
I sure can do that. So, Ajax, for your first idea of cuddling, yeah, of course it's a good idea because it's similar to something I have. Not exactly, but similar. So yes, of course, taking someone else's body heat to use it for your own, I'm 100% for, because use people as much as you can, then toss them away when you're done with them.
Just like body heat.
Exactly. Number 2, heated body pillow. This one goes straight in the good ideas pile. I mean, if I could have a better than good idea pile, I would put it in there, because this would, if this actually existed, this would finally allow me to take my waifu body pillow out all times of the year. So that way I could go for walks through the park with my waifu body pillow. We would be able to cuddle. You know, how could I say no to this? I mean, this is like a dream come true to be able to walk through a winter wonderland, just me and my waifu body pillow. Yes.
I like it. That'd be good marketing. Just cuddling with your body pillow in the middle of like a shopping center.
Yeah. When I find the right waifu body pillow, this would be a great ability to have that. For your third idea of the sleeping bag suit, for some reason, it reminded me of like the old snowsuits from A Christmas Carol. You just see the one kid just go in his, in his like snowsuit, can't do it.
I see what you're thinking.
That's all I can think about.
Mine's a little bit more floppier.
Yeah.
Mine's more like not necessarily overstuffed where you can't put your arms down. You can put your arms down in this. It's more baggy. It's just
like a sleeping bag?
Like a sleeping bag.
Oh, really? I'm going to put this idea as going towards good, because once you said I could just fall asleep in it, I was on board. I mean, really? But the only thing that concerns me is just falling asleep in the middle of the wilderness in the middle of winter. Just going, I'm tired, woo, and just falling over. And then you're asleep in the middle of winter, and then a blizzard hits you, and then you're covered in snow. And yeah, that's all I can think of.
Well,
but not a bad idea. It gives you a place to sleep wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
So for your fourth idea of building an outdoor shelter, I put this in the good ideas pile because I don't see this as like if I'm just walking down the street or out and about doing my day and I go, oh, I'm a little chilly, time to build a shelter. I think of this as like emergency situation kind of thing. Like I'm stuck in the middle, lost in the middle of the woods, which I would never be in the first place. But let's say something happened, I'm lost in the middle of the woods. Yeah, this would be very handy and a good skill to have. But for everyday use, not so much. But yeah, but otherwise, it's in the ideas pile because I couldn't figure out where else to put it.
That's what that pile's for.
That's what I've heard. All right, your fifth idea, digging a hole. Of course, that's going to be a good idea because again, I've got my mole man fantasy. You know, it's either hanging from a tree because I'm going to be a sloth, or digging a hole and living underground like a little mole. So yes.
Would love to see you with a star nose mole nose.
Yes. Just get my little, just go, because that's what the sound they make.
That's
yes. Because they are prehensile, apparently. Just like fingers.
Oh my gosh. Imagine doing things with just your nose.
Who says I don't?
Impressive. You are star nose mole. You win that award.
Yes, I try. Sixth idea, cheerleading. I think we all know this goes in the bad ideas pile. Because in the middle of winter, I would not look good with a midriff shirt, just an exposed midriff. It just wouldn't be for me.
I think you'd look beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I do have enough, pom-poms in my closet, but just for now, again, for the sake of keeping warm in the middle of winter, it's a bad idea because there's too much activity. And number 7, eating hot sauce. I love hot sauce. I like spicy foods. I've got like 3 different types of spicy foods. I actually, over the Christmas, when I was at my parents' house, my dad, if you guys ever saw Hot Ones, the TV show, he has all 10 sauces, but originally he had just the 3 like ones they make. And we had we're all like tasting the different ones. And I had the hottest one and did not flinch. I had a little hiccup, but other than that, didn't flinch. I forgot what it was on. It was like on a cracker or something. And I like hot sauce. But that being said, this is going the bad ideas pile because it's not real heat. It doesn't keep you warm. It just makes you hot. It gives a reaction, but it's not heat. It's just like, oh my God, it's hot. It's like when people say, oh, here's a little bit of whiskey to keep you warm. It doesn't keep you warm. It gives you a feeling of warmth, but it's not actual warmth. It can actually bring your temperature down internally. So it's actually dangerous. So yeah, bad ideas pile, even though I love hot sauce.
Feel warm. How many Scovilles did you have?
Oh, it's about 2 million.
It's a lot.
It's a little bit. I mean, it was warm, but it wasn't a bad taste though. It was like a nice mustardy kind of style of hot sauce. It had a bit of a flavor. It was peppery, but mustardy. The heat just it built up after, which I appreciate. I'm like a ghost pepper fan. When I have my hot sauces, I like ghost pepper because I actually taste the pepper and then I get the heat. It comes in stages, but I can actually taste what I'm eating first. And then I'm like looking for the milk. but I appreciate
It's a complex
Exactly.
reaction. Yeah.
Unlike habanero, which I do enjoy in certain applications, it's like it hits you hard, hits you fast, and it's done. Like Lay's when they did their habanero chips, fantastic, absolutely wonderful. Could only have a handful at a time, but it was tasty as all heck. But those are my pilings.
Thank you.
I guess I will go now. All right, Ajax, for your first idea, cuddling. One of my favorite like fanfic tropes is enemies to lovers, and it's like one of the tropes is, oh, we're somewhere cold, we'll have to huddle for warmth. That's how the two characters get together. So yes, this is definitely going in the good ideas pile. Also, just because who doesn't like cuddling? For your second idea, heated body pillow. They do heated vests, USB drive, battery powered.
I've seen those.
So I don't know why they couldn't do the same for a body pillow. So yeah, definitely good ideas pile. I would love if my body pillow had some heat to it. Sleeping bag suit. This is going in the ideas pile because it already exists. This does exist. This product is around. I know what I'm getting you for next Christmas.
Sleeping bag suit.
Yeah, so ideas. Build a shelter. I'm going to put this in the ideas pile because if you don't know what you're doing, it could be problematic. But if you know what you're doing, then yeah, definitely. Having a shelter is better than no shelter. And you don't
build one near flooded waters. Don't build one near a beehive. Don't build one.
And now you have all these rules. This is definitely going just in the ideas pile.
Well, if you want to be safe.
Yeah. Dig a hole was your next idea. I will definitely put this in the good ideas pile, especially since I had a similar idea. Cheerleading. This is going in the ideas pile. If you're a cheerleader, this is appropriate. If you're in the stands and you all of a sudden just start cheerleading, it might be a little awkward. And I think I'd rather be cold than awkward in a
I'd rather be awkward.
I'd rather just cuddle with the person next to me than bring a lot of attention to myself by cheerleading. So yeah, I'll put this in the ideas pile because super awkward. Eating hot sauce. I don't like hot sauce, but if it's between being cold and feeling cold and being cold and feeling warm, then I'm going with being cold and feeling warm. I would definitely be the person that eats the hot sauce. I would be the person who takes a shot of whiskey. I'd rather trick myself into thinking I'm warm, especially like if there's no clear way of getting warm in sight. This is the end game. Might as well go out feeling nice and warm than going out feeling frigid and cold. So I'm going to put that in the ideas leading towards good. But those are my pilings.
Thanks, Kate. Alex, how about your ideas?
I'd be happy to share them with you guys.
Yay.
All right. So for my first idea is to just man up. I mean, come on. Stop being a wuss. Just take some mind over matter and get out there and deal with it. Stop being a little pains man. It's time to stop like worrying about what kind of jacket. Just put a jacket on, get out there, do what you gotta do, get back inside where it's warm. Just man up and deal with it. That's idea number one. For idea number two, it's something I call the fire wagon jacket. So what it is, kind of a normal, very roomy, baggy jacket that you wear that has a double layer zipper just to keep the air in that's coming in. But behind you, instead of just having a flat back, it's got a tube that leads to a wagon attached to a little housing unit that's in a wagon. Now in that wagon is you would build a fire or some sort of heating element would go in there. And that would force hot air through the tube that you're attached to into the jacket, keeping you warm. And this would just, the little wagon would follow that behind you. And then you would have a constant heat source wherever you go. If you get the optional basket attachment, a little place to put your groceries if you have to walk. So that's idea number two. Idea number three, it sounds very similar to something Kate brought up, but much more effective. And that's the Pink Panther suit. So as Kate put it, it's like having an insulative layer like most jackets do, but she wants to use air. Why wouldn't we just use the stuff that we insulate our houses with? What are we doing? Let's have a jacket full of fiberglass insulation. I mean, it's effective for your house. Why aren't we using it for? I mean, you're not putting cotton in polyester in your house, in your walls. you're putting Pink Panther fiberglass insulation. So let's bring that to a more realistic application and stick it in our jackets. So that's idea number 3. Idea number 4. It's called the Snuggle Sweater. It's essentially just a 2-person sweater or jacket that you put on with another person so that when you're going out, you just have to snuggle with each other for warmth. Because again, it's body heat. What's wrong with that? And you get to look like a cute little couple walking down the street, and everybody loves that. And for my last and final idea, just stop going outside. There's nothing out there that you need to do. There's no reason to go outside. I mean, COVID's taught us anything. You can Instacart to get your groceries. You can work from home. You can talk with people on Zoom. So really, is there anything you need outside? Especially in the wintertime when it's cold? No. You can get everything brought to you rather than you going out to get those things. So just stop going outside and stay in where it's warm and cozy in your little mole cave. And those are my ideas.
Thanks, Alex.
You're welcome, Kate.
Let me pile these first.
Nah.
So for your first idea, man up. I already have a problem with the wording because do you know how they do tests for pain tolerance? They use ice water or have you hold like an ice cube. And women, on average, have a higher pain tolerance than men.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you're using the term man up when describing being tolerant to cold things is kind of misleading. And
What do you mean? No, you got to man up because the man's not doing good enough, so he's got to get better.
Sure. I want to put this in the ideas pile. Sometimes, yeah, you're not going to freeze to death doing a 15-minute walk somewhere. Choose the appropriate clothing and you'll be fine. Even if you don't choose the appropriate clothing, depending on where you are in the world, you should be okay. If you're in Alaska, on the other hand, and you walk out, you could, die of hypothermia in like 15 minutes, then maybe manning up is not for you. But generally speaking, you should be okay if you're just slightly cold. Even me, who dislikes the cold, yeah, I'll put in the ideas pile. Mine over matter. Fire wagon jacket. This is going straight in the bad ideas pile. This is so cumbersome. The only time I could see this being actually useful is if you're in a situation where it's exceedingly cold and worth all the effort to have a drag-along wagon with a fire.
Hold on. You are the person who loves fire, and you were saying this is a bad idea. I want this on record.
Yes.
Specifically.
This idea, not fire, this idea specifically is a bad idea.
Kate hates fire.
Speaking of bad ideas, Pink Panther suit. When I was a kid, we had a roll of this in our garage. And I sat on it, not knowing what it was. And I had so many little cuts on my leg, and I had like no idea where they came from. It was like road rash. I was like, how the hell did I get all these cuts? It is so painful and so dangerous. So yes, straight in the bad ideas pile. I do not want a coat filled with fiberglass. But speaking of coats and filling spaces, your 2-person sweater. I'm going to put this in the ideas leaning towards good. I could see this as like a stay at home and watching TV with your significant other and sharing a bowl of popcorn. And yeah, that would be nice. I do not want to go out in public with this thing now. And these do exist as well.
Yeah, 2-person sweaters do, yes, but ones for going outside in?
Yes, they do exist. They're usually a gag gift, rightfully so.
Real.
They're real sweaters. But I could see this as a stay-at-home kind of attire, not a going out in attire. And then for your last idea, stop going outside. It's an idea. If you really don't like being cold, well, you can really reduce your chances of being in a situation where you have to build a shelter outside or figure out some kind of heating system with a drag-along wagon if you stay inside. So it's not necessarily a horrible idea. But on the flip side, it's like you're not going outside, so you're not getting vitamin D naturally. You're going to get depressed.
Supplements.
Yeah, it's not as good, but I'll give it an ideas pile. And those are my pilings.
Thanks, Kate.
You're welcome.
Ajax, how do you feel about my ideas?
All right, Alex. So for your first idea of manning up and dealing with it, unfortunately, this is not going to work for me. When I'm cold, and I will not man up. I will whine until I get into that house and into that place that is warm. So this is a bad idea. I'm not manning up and dealing with it. I'm going to go get warm. For your second idea, the fire wagon jacket. I actually really like this idea. I could just see you dragging like your fire wagon behind you when you go out to your parade or something. You want to sit there for a long time, kind of stoke your jacket for a little bit. Totally. I'm in on this one. So yeah, this is a good ideas pile for the fire wagon jacket. It's going to be a pain in the ass, but it's going to be worth it in the end.
But once you're there, oh my God, you're going to be toasty warm and you'll be like, man, give me a cold beer, a cold Coke.
I'll take a beer. You know what? If it was a fire wagon jacket, snowsuits, sleeping bag suit, then I'd be.
I just realized this. If you got the fire in there, that you bring some hot dogs along, you got a place to cook some hot dogs.
This is the multi-purpose apparatus.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
All right. So then for your third idea of the Pink Panther suit, yeah, this is a bad idea. This fiberglass. It looks fluffy. It looks cuddly, but can be deceiving. And that one looks really, really pokey. I don't want to do it. And plus, I'm sure it's not healthy to be around it to wear it in jacket form.
Also, children, do not eat it. It is not cotton candy.
Yeah, please don't eat it.
I know it looks like cotton candy. It's very tempting, but I assure you, you do not want to eat it.
But you can't cuddle in this jacket either.
Well, this isn't the cuddling jacket, now is it?
This is not the cuddling jacket.
Never said it was.
Unlike the number 4, the Snuggle Sweater, which I love. I think this is going great in the good ideas pile because I want to walk along the boardwalk in a snuggle sweater with somebody because that's where I'm usually really cold when it's at night. You're like, oh my God, you want to snuggle in a snuggle sweater. So yeah.
And then I could put my waifu pillow in there so then we can be snuggling together and look like a real couple.
It's true. You can even give your pillow a head or something.
Well, it's in a pillowcase that has a person's anime waifu on there. That's the whole point.
And so for your fifth idea of stop going outside, that will take me out of a job. So I'm going to put this in the bad ideas pile because I work outside. I go out there. It's outside.
Sure.
It's not inside. It's outside.
Hey guys, just to let you know, the heated bottom pillow does already exist.
Okay.
So my dreams can come true.
They can.
And it's only $79.99 on Amazon.
It's not bad.
No, it's really not.
And those are my pilings.
Thanks, AJ.
Thanks, Alex, for making ideas.
Thank you guys for piling them.
And speaking of thanks, we should thank our listeners.
Thank you, listeners. Without you, there would be no us.
Without you, there would be no you. So thank you for being you. And this podcast is brought to you by the letter U.
And without us, you would still be you.
So thank you.
But speaking of podcasts, if you want to catch more episodes, you can listen to us on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Anchor, any podcasting platform. If you're listening to a podcasting platform that doesn't feature us, please contact us at ideasalldaypodcast@gmail.com. We have a Facebook page, we have a YouTube channel with playlists, and we're also on Instagram at Ideas All Day Podcast. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Danke Shane.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Boy.